But what's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hey, Shaner.
So,
Uh,
He's back, baby. Welcome to another episode of Nothing But Controversy, Season 3. And yes, it is officially NFL Week 1. And I am so incredibly excited.
what a time to be alive, man.
been a
It
long,
gets to the Super Bowl. You get to the Super Bowl, and you're like, wow, what am I going to do for the next bunch of months? But we made it, right? In Canada, it's a little easier because, we have our team. We got Montreal. And they played during the summer. So at least we have a little bit of football to watch. But there's nothing like the NFL, man. I mean, say what you want to say. We love our sports on this podcast, but when the NFL's here, nothing but controversy is booming, right? So we have our week 1 special this week. Unfortunately, Dawson is stuck in his early morning meetings, so he won't be here for this episode. But Shaner's back, baby. And I am fired up to hear what this guy has to say. We just had our fantasy draft yesterday, the one that we're all in. That went pretty well. But yeah, this week we have a few segments here. We got our question of the week. We bringing back our game of the week because it is the NFL. We have our bold prediction of the year. We have a top 5. We have an NBC draft. And of course, we end it off with our lock of the week in terms of betting. So here, we're going to start with our question of the week. And we've done this before. I think we did this last year for our week 1 special too. My question to you is, who is your dark horse Super Bowl matchup and winner? Week 1, the season starts tomorrow with Kansas City and Detroit. Before all this starts, Liam, I want to know, who's your dark horse pick to win the Super Bowl, man?
Yeah, well, I have two teams here, obviously, that are going to make it there, that are both being led by young quarterbacks, but have great rosters. And coming out of the AFC, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars
Wow.
making it all the way to the Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers, being led by a Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, you asked for dark horse. Those are the two teams that I actually think have, pretty solid rosters.
Yeah.
And given, if things go right, they could easily I could see them making playoff pushes, both of them, and eventually meeting in the Super Bowl. Now, in the Super Bowl, who takes it? Who wins? It's tough, but I like the team with the better quarterback, and that's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars
Wow.
winning the Super Bowl.
I love that. You know what? We honestly should have just said it, but that was your dark horse pick. Give me your actual prediction, because I think it's good that we have an actual prediction before the season starts too.
Yeah, obviously, I like the Bills again to go deep. I think they're not like the sexiest team, and everyone's talking about the Jets and the AFC East and stuff like that. But I like the Bills to be, have another solid season and eventually, cross that. I feel like they haven't been able to take that next leap, but I think this could be a year for them to do that. So I like them to win the Super Bowl this year. If I have to give an early pick,
Definitely not upset about that one. How about you, Shaner?
listen, I would just like to say it is a dark horse, and it's not something that I think is going to happen. The first team could make it, obviously. They wouldn't be the first time in recent history they make it, but I'm going to go with the Bengals. I feel like a lot of people are counting them out right now with Joe Burrow's injury. I know it's not an injury that's going to last long, but people still think he didn't get his reps in preseason, and the Bengals do tend to start slow. But the second team is where the dark horse really comes in, and that's the Dallas Cowboys, man. I think they added everything, unfortunately. As a guy who hates the Cowboys, they added everything they kind of had to add. The holes that I think are fixed. Do I trust Dak Prescott to get it done? Absolutely not. But I mean, I could see it happening. In that game, obviously, I think the Bengals absolutely clapped the shit out of the Cowboys. But I think the Cowboys definitely could make a run if everything lines up for them. Real Super Bowl matchup, I think the Chiefs are gonna go back to back, and I think it's gonna be over the 49ers again.
Really, eh? I like that. All right. So my favoritism pick, I'm gonna take the Saints to beat the Dolphins in my dark horse. The Saints, everyone's saying like, oh, they're gonna be around 500. Like, I really don't think so. Like, I think their over under was set at 9.5, and I think I'm gonna hammer that over. Okay. Their division, plain and simple. There's either gonna be a couple surprise teams or they're gonna suck. Right? The Saints, I think, have the best roster. They have the best quarterback. They have the best defense in that division. So I think they're going to run through that. And not necessarily meaning they're going to be the best team in the NFC, but they're going to have one of the best records simply because of that. They have 6 games where it's not that they're not going to have trouble because they are divisional matchups, but they should win these games. So, not saying that. The Saints have the easiest strength of schedule according to last year as well. So, the Saints doing that, they ride home field advantage. They get to the Super Bowl, take on another dark horse team, the Dolphins, who maybe end up second in that division. You know, surprise a couple teams, beat a couple teams on the road. Dark horse. You know, I love my boy Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You know, I love Tua. Maybe he gets it done. He stays healthy. Because I think if Tua stays healthy, that team's going to be good. I just wanted to throw the Saints in there, but another dark horse. I like the Jets this year. Maybe you don't think that's a dark horse anymore, but until we really see them, like, you can't really prove that they're going to be good, right? So I got Jets 33-30 over the Niners. The Niners aren't necessarily more of a dark horse team, but I'm not sold on Brock Purdy, so that's why I think they're a dark horse. My real matchup is going to be a rematch of last year. To me, by far the 2 best teams in the league, and I have the Chiefs taking it again. I'm never going to bet against Patrick Mahomes until he shows me he starts to drop off because he's just too good, in my opinion. Way too good. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see the Saints in there. And I would be obviously surprised if they made it to the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't be too shocked if they had a good year, especially with Derek Carr at the helm now.
I would just like to say I am also hammering the over 9.5. The bet has already been placed.
Love that. Fire me up. Let's go. All right, and I want to quit the Dak Prescott slander because he's my quarterback in fantasy this year, and I'm riding with him.
Yeah.
Better pray he doesn't chalk picks to the other.
For real, bro.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is breathing down his neck.
Yeah, don't forget.
Yeah. All right. So that was our question of the week. Now we're gonna head into our game of the week this week, and it's a pretty easy one. It's a divisional matchup, Monday Night Football. First time we get to see Aaron Rodgers play for the Jets. We got the Bills visiting New York. Oh, man. That's going to be an absolute barn burner to start off Monday Night Football. I'll go first. This time we can go the other way. I'm going to have the Jets taking it 28-24 at home. New team. God, I said it last week, but I'm so high on Garrett Wilson, man. I think he's going to be so good this year. Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, throwing him the ball, one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time. I'm so excited to see that. And it's not even like a shot at the Bills because the Bills could literally come out here and beat them by 20 points because it is the Bills and they are that good. And the Jets are a brand new team. But I really like the look of the Jets, and everyone's saying like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is washed. Like, get out of my face with that. We all know Aaron Rodgers is about to star for that team. So I got the Jets beating them 28-24. And my X factor is going to be that Jets running game, right? So we have Breece Hall. We got to see him a bunch last year, but now they got Dalvin Cook, man. So those 2 guys at the helm, we might not be able to see Breece Hall this week. We're going to see. But if Dalvin Cook pops off for that team, the Jets are going to be scary, man.
Yeah. Without a doubt. I'm leaning the other way. I think I like the Bills to get it done. This is a big game, I think, for them in particular to really, start the season off right. You're going away. It's going to be a tough game. And I don't think it's going to be a shootout like we might think. Those are 2 high-powered offenses, but again, there's good defenses there. The Jets look solid, especially on the back end, and the Bills are just the Bills. They're always. I mean, I've never really seen them give up a boatload of points. So I think it's really going to come down to which receiving core can really take over the game and which quarterback can take over the game. with that being said, I like the Bills winning 24-17.
Yeah, I think
On the spread.
it's gonna be a close game for
What is
sure.
the spread in that game
2.5.
for the Bills?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be a close game. I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna throw out 27-21 here for the Bills. I think we've seen it in the past when a team stacks their team with so much talent. It takes time for all these guys to come in and not be the guy on the offense anymore. I think that's exactly what's going to happen with the Jets. I think it's going to take some time for them to get into a rhythm. There's definitely a thing of having too much talent, and that's exactly what the Jets have right now. Is they have too much talent, and a lot of these guys are coming from a team where they were the number one option. Now they're coming to a team where the number one option is a second year player, and not a lot of egos like that. So it's going to take a lot of time for them to gel together and see if it actually works properly. Dalvin Cook is coming in as always being the guy in his career, but Breece Hall is a way better running back at this stage in his career. I know it's going to start with Dalvin Cook, but at some point Breece Hall is going to take over, and how is Dalvin Cook going to react to that? So I don't think the Jets are going to be as good as everyone says they are this year. I think they are a playoff team, but I don't think they're going to win 11, 12 games like I'm hearing a lot of people say they are. And I definitely don't think that they're taking that division from the Bills this year.
And they're also in a tough division, man. Tough division. Like the Patriots are never an easy out, and people are considering the Patriots to be the worst team in that division. You know, you have the Dolphins, who are explosive offense, can beat anybody. Then you have the Bills, who have just been the beasts of the AFCs lately. So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, I'm the only one riding with the Jets. I wonder what Dossie Bear would have said, but all right, let's go into our bold prediction of the year. Okay, so before I get into my bold prediction of the year, I'm just gonna take it back to my bold prediction of the NFC draft, of the NFL draft. Sorry. And my bold prediction of that draft was that if Jordan Addison got taken by the Minnesota Vikings, he was going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I just want to put that back into play here. I want to remind everybody that was my bold prediction from the start. If that happens, that's wild. I'm going to put money on it tomorrow. I should have put money on him getting drafted by. I should have made it a parlay, because that would have been wild. But my bold prediction, let's bring it back to Garrett Wilson, Offensive Player of the Year. That is my bold prediction of the NFL season. Yes, it is bold, but telling you, man, I love the fact that he's getting balls from Aaron Rodgers. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair shout. I got a similar, I mean, not very similar, but kind of a guy that I kind of touched on earlier in our episode here. I think Trevor Lawrence could win MVP. And if that team performs well, makes the playoffs, he throws for a ton of yards, throws less picks than he did last year, I mean, he's going to be in the conversation no matter what. So I think it's not only is it a dark horse pick, I think there's actually a legitimate possibility of it happening. So
yeah, I'm gonna stick on the MVP trend here with LBS. It's a guy fresh off getting paid. He's got weapons around him for the first time in his career. Lamar Jackson is going to win his second MVP this year.
Really? Wow, I like that.
They went out and they drafted Zay Flowers in the first round. They signed Odell. Obviously, we don't know how good Odell's going to be after not playing for a year. He's still got his boy Mark Andrews. He's still got Rashad Bateman. He's finally got weapons. That O-line's solid. And what he could do
with Dobbins is healthy.
Yeah, and what he could do with his legs is still better than anybody else in the NFL, in my opinion.
For sure.
So I think Lamar Jackson, his odds are pretty high. But I think it's definitely something that he could do. He's already done it once. I think he could do it again.
All righty. I like these, man. We're moving through this. All right. And now we're going to bring back an all-time goated segment. Nothing but controversy. And that is top 5. And this week, we're kind of doing a different route here. We're going with dark horse players to have superstar breakout seasons. So take that with a grain of salt, because it's all up to perspective of who's a superstar yet, who's not, who you think could break out. and maybe just explain why. So I guess we'll all go with 5, then we'll all go with 4, and we'll just go all the way down to 1.
But
To start off with 5, I'm going to go with Derek Carr, okay? It's my only saint on the list. I had to throw one in there. But Derek Carr, not to say that he's never had weapons, because he had Devontae Adams and he had Hunter Renfrow and whatever. And he had Darren Waller for a bit. But he was getting hit all the time. Now he's got a decent O-line in front of him, has one of the best defenses in the NFL. This guy's not going to feel so much pressure. He's going to be able to get the ball. He's going to be in a system where Michael Thomas running all those short routes, Chris Olave being that deep threat, Michael Thomas being that safety blanket. I think he's going to have an absolute breakout season. And I think Derek Carr has a chance to be top 5 leading in passing yards like he has been back in the day. Chris Olave also, I'm going to shout him out. He's not on my list, but he has a chance to become one of the best receivers in the NFL.
I think it's hard to say that a guy's gonna have a breakout season when, like, 4 years ago, he was in the running for MVP before he got
Yeah,
hurt.
I guess fair enough. That's why I put him at 5, though. But it's also like he's dropped off, right? Like no one's thinking of Derek Carr as a superstar quarterback, but after this year, they might.
Fair.
yeah, that's fine. All right. Well, for 5, I don't know if this guy's going to turn into a superstar. But I think he could go from just a serviceable guy to being a star player. And that's the Bears running back Khalil Herbert. I talked about it last week. I'm high on him this year. It's his backfield. He's obviously going to be sharing some touches with some other guys that they brought in. But I think if he plays 3 downs, majority of the workload, he could have a crazy year. That's a team that loves to run the football. It's a team that needs to run the football. And people don't really know this, but he led the league in yards per carry last year. So he's got that big play ability. And if he can put an entire season of being the main guy together, I don't see why he can't become a star in this league.
Agreed. I agree with that one. I went with pretty much all young guys on my list. And kicking off is a guy that's going into his 3rd year on a team that's really, really, really bad. But he's one of the only guys left on that defense after they kind of had a fire sale and a lot of people retired. And that's Zaven Collins for the Arizona Cardinals. He had 100 tackles last year. I think he's going to be more of a household name. Just like I said, he's kind of the only one that's going to be making plays out there in Arizona. So I think he's going to put his name on the map, but he's going into that make or break 3rd year as a 1st-round pick. Kind of that year where they have to decide if they're going to pick up his 5th-year option or not. So to me, it's a make or break year, and I think he's gonna turn into a superstar at the linebacker position.
I like that. That's a good shout.
All right. Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but at number 4, I have Jordan Addison. And the reason that I think he's going to be doing so well is because he's going to be that number 2 to Justin Jefferson, right? No one's really going to game plan that much for Jordan Addison. Everyone's going to be focusing all their attention on Justin Jefferson. So if he's getting double teamed, he's getting covered by the best receiver, the best corner, then Jordan Addison's going to have a chance to shine here. All right. And if he's getting that offensive rookie of the year, you're turning him into a superstar, right? So I would love to see it happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. The next guy I have has kind of struggled with injuries in his first couple years into the NFL. We just spoke about him as well before. And that's the Ravens running back, J.K. Dobbins. If he can put together a season where he's healthy, I think we're going to see – I think people forget just how good he was in college. And even in his rookie year with Baltimore, had quite a season. I mean, rushed for over 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. And I think he missed a game or 2. And if he sees the workload I'm expecting he's going to see this year, and the Ravens, commit to running the football, he could have a huge year. And that's why I really like him. He could become a superstar and be one of those premier backs in the NFL. I believe that.
Yeah, I'm at 4. I kind of went with a name that I think has been forgotten in the NFL here. A guy on a new team was traded this offseason, Elijah Moore, going to the Browns. If you look historically at the way Deshaun Watson throws the ball, he loves throwing the ball to the slot receivers, and that's exactly what Elijah Moore is. He's coming in. He's the number 2 target behind Amari Cooper. Kind of like you said about Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, obviously not on the same level, but everyone's game planning around Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper. No one's really looking after Elijah Moore. I think he definitely has a chance to throw up an 800 to 1,000-yard season in his first year with the Browns. And I think it's just his first step of slowly becoming the receiver that people thought he was in the draft.
Interesting. All right, heading to number 3 here. I'm picking a guy that I don't know why, but I've been hearing a lot of people calling him like overhyped, overrated. You know, everyone's on the George Pickens train this year. And honestly, I'm one of those people that is on that train. He's that guy who's going to turn into that Steelers #1 receiver this year. And I don't think it should be that surprising to people. Like Deontay Johnson's a good receiver, but he's one of the lower tier receiver ones. George Pickens is the perfect receiver build. And I don't know if you I know you guys have watched him, but people who haven't, and they're just seeing these like spectacular catches, like no one else is making those kind of catches. George Pickens is a freak. And if he can get the ball enough, if Kenny Pickett can actually get him the ball, that's going to be a team to watch this year.
Yeah. I'm a guy, I believe in George Pickens. I don't know if I believe in Kenny Pickett. But I like the pick nonetheless. I'm moving to the defensive side of the football as well, or like Shaner did earlier. It's my only guy playing defense, and he's on the 49ers, and that's edge rusher Drake Jackson. We saw the monster game he had last year. I think it was against the Raiders, where I think he had 3 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss, and that's a guy who's playing on an edge where there's another elite guy on the other side of him, which frees him up and allows him to, you know, make plays. So on a defense like that, and a guy who might go, you know, not really mentioned in, you know, preparing for a team, I could see him having a huge year on the edge, you know, making plays, probably recording a lot of sacks in TFL. So I could really see him having a big year and becoming an edge guy and getting paid, you know, further down the line. I think he was a rookie last year, so a couple years till he gets his contract, but if he has another year, he's gonna get paid.
Yeah, I'm following kind of Matt's trend here with the second-year receiver. A guy I was pissed off that when he was drafted because of the team that drafted him. That's Jahan Dotson. He came out, he kind of burst on the scene early last year with a couple, you know, touchdowns early in the season, and then he got hurt. You know, I'm never going to sit here and say that he's going to be the #1 receiver in Washington because they do have Terry McLaurin. But if you look at the way that Sam Howell used him throughout camp and in the preseason, he went at him a lot more than he went at Terry McLaurin. Part of which is people game planning for Terry McLaurin. I think Washington has a very good chance to have 2,000-yard receivers this year. And Jahan Dotson is also a touchdown threat every time he touches that ball. I think he can very easily go for over 1,010 touchdowns this year.
Okay, so my next 2 are kind of pushing that like are on that line, you know? I wouldn't necessarily call them a superstar right now, but it's not like it's gonna be surprising to hear these guys' names. That's why I put them at 1 and 2, because it's kind of like it's hard to say. But number 2, I have Breece Hall. Okay. I wouldn't consider him a superstar just yet. But if he has the season that we're all expecting him to have, he's going to be in that conversation as a top 3 fantasy player next year. Especially since Dalvin Cook's getting old. Breece Hall's just bursting onto the scene. If he has an amazing year, especially if Aaron Rodgers is still there, he's going to be that threat in fantasy that everyone wants.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not really a stretch at all. I mean, we're looking for guys who are going to become superstars, right? Mm-hmm. And I have another running back. My trend continues. I have 4 running backs on this list. I don't know. But that's Rachaad White. I mean, I talked about it last week again, and it's kind of like a similar situation as Khalil Herbert, but I have him so much higher on this list because I think he really is going to be a 3-down back and have, you know, way too many touches. And if he can, again, it just comes down to production to me. If he can produce and put up, you know, big numbers rushing, I think he's a very capable pass catcher as well. So, you know, if he puts up a season where he rushes for over 1,000, scores touchdowns, and amasses 60 or 70 receptions, I mean, he's going to be another guy who's going to be in a conversation to become a superstar running back in this league. So he's just in a great situation, and really, if he takes advantage of it, I think he will have a great season and will be regarded as a top back in this league.
Yeah, I actually had him on my list and took him off, but he's very close to be on my list too. My two, I'm gonna assume this is gonna be the last defensive player that's named. And it's a little bit of a homer pick, but I do believe that he should be kind of viewed as a guy that's ready to break out, and that's Kayvon Thibodeau. Obviously, was the fifth overall pick last year. Dealt with injuries, but if you see like watching his talent, and obviously I probably watch him way more than you guys, being a Giants fan. But that game in Washington, he single-handedly won that game for the New York Giants, which is incredible to say from a rookie defensive end. He tormented the Washington Commanders O-line and their quarterbacks. There's not many positional battles that you could line up that the Giants win every week or close to every week, but the Giants D-line is probably a top 5 unit in the NFL just based on their starters. He's got a guy next to him in Dexter Lawrence, who was an All-Pro last year or played at an All-Pro level. He's got Leonard Williams in there, and on the other side he's got another young pass rusher in Azeez Ojulari. And they just brought in another young pass rusher in Carlos Basham, guys that can get after the quarterback. So he's not essentially the guy that people are looking at right now. The focus for the Giants D-line is in the interior, which lets the edge rushers get to the quarterback. So I'm expecting him. I think his sacks is set at like 6. His over-under is at 6. I think he soars over that. Just based on the players that he's playing around and the talent level and the motor that he has, he should soar over that.
That's a good
My
shout.
number one, it's not going to come as a surprise to anyone. I've already said his name like 4 times in this episode, and that's Garrett Wilson. He's bursting onto the scene, had an amazing year last year with fucking Zach Wilson and Joe Flacco throwing on the ball. Now he's got Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. He's going to be a top 5 receiver. He's my pick for Offensive Player of the Year as a dark horse. I'm excited to see it happen.
Well, I had to save a homer pick for last. Another running back. I'm going with Rhamondre Stevenson. Again, it's just that conversation of like, being that guy, being the bell cow back, being the guy who is on the field for, 85 to 90% of offensive snaps. I think he's going to be out there a lot this year. And again, he caught the ball over 50 times last year. I expect to go for that number to be higher. And I mean, he's going to rush for over 1,000 without a doubt. This team is going to have to run the football if they want to be good. So again, I could see him having a monster year, putting a lot of, I'm not going to go crazy. Actually, yeah, why not? I could see him having over, 2,000 all-purpose yards. I really do. So Rhamondre Stevenson is my number one dark horse player to become a superstar.
Yeah, and for my one, I went back and forth on whether to include this guy on the list because some might say he's already a superstar and some say he's on the cusp of being a superstar, and it is Garrett Wilson. There's not really much else to say. I think after this year, he's going to fully cement himself as a top 7, top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. So I think he has to be one if you don't already see him as a superstar. But if you already see him as a superstar, I completely understand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Absolutely. All right. So now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the episode, and that's our NBC draft. And this week, we're doing all things NFL draft. So Liam at the start of this episode didn't really know what to put on this list because it's super broad, but it is broad at that. You could do anything. Take it anywhere you want. Take an old player. Take a new player. Take an activity. Take a team that has something to do with the NFL. All in all, anything that has to do with the NFL. So, to see who gets the third pick, We're gonna go right here. I adjusted it so it wasn't as long as last time, and it looks like it's gonna be LBS who gets the 3rd overall pick. And now to see who gets the 1st pick. Between myself and Shaner. Shaner always has good luck.
I'm always
on these,
up there,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, he's gonna get the 1st pick again, it looks like.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, it is me. All righty.
Go.
I think this is the first time I get the 1st pick in one of these drafts. So I'm gonna be writing them down. Very happy to be getting hang on, I gotta stop the share here. Yeah. Very happy to be getting the 1st overall pick here. We were talking about it in the car last week, me, Dawson, and Liam, and we thought there was a consensus number 1 pick. And that's NFL Red Zone. I
like
think
my consensus, but yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, it's. I know what you're gonna say because it's my number 2, but NFL Red Zone is why fantasy football is fun to me. Fantasy football is always great because it makes you watch all the games, but there's no way to just skip from game to game to game like NFL Red Zone. And NFL Red Zone, you're parking on your ass at 1 p.m. and you're sitting there until 7, and there's no commercials. It's just 7 straight hours of commercial-free football. There's nothing like it. Easy number 1 for me. Shaner, go and take fantasy football, please, with your 2nd pick so I can write it down.
Hoping it would slide.
I'm fully sprinting. And I am excited to announce fantasy football as my pick. There's really no justification that's needed. It's there, man. Everybody plays it, and if you don't, like, it's pretty shocking, man. At this point, there's just everybody I talk to just play. I don't think I know anybody that doesn't play fantasy football that watches football.
Yeah, nothing has to be said. When I was trying to figure things out for this draft, those were the only 2 things I could come up with. So I could see this draft going in a variety of ways from here on out. But football season starting, the anticipation's building up, and there's no excitement like week 1 of the NFL. And
that's on my list, buddy. That's on my list. That's a good pick.
Week 1 of the NFL. I mean, there's just all kinds of hype, and we're all fired up and ready to go. And then I have to pick again, right?
Yep.
Awesome. What do I do here? I'm gonna go with a long-time tradition for quite some time now. The boys just get together. It's Thursday night.
Thursday night viewing parties, baby.
Nothing like it. It's almost Friday. You got a football game on. You're with the boys. You're ordering out, doing your thing, having a couple drinks. Nothing like Thursday night football.
I love that pick. Go ahead, Shaner.
I'm going to take a guy here that I thought would be gone in the 1st round, that if I had the 3rd overall pick, I probably would have taken it. And that's the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Super
boys.
Bowl.
That's on my list, but I'll tell you what. I am absolutely fired up because I thought Liam was going to run to the board and take this knowing Liam. And that's betting on NFL football. I cannot believe that no one has taken that yet.
I thought I was going to be able to take it a a little later.
I'm going to be honest.
I'm surprised LBS didn't take that 1st round, man. I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
But betting on the NFL. And then I have the 1st pick of the 3rd round here. And I'm going with the best draft in sports, and that's the NFL draft. I'm excited about that one too. Our mock draft special. Oh, God, I'm fired up.
I definitely had that on my list. This one, it's not that big for, like, obviously it depends on the day and what you're doing, but I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna take it in the 3rd round. I'm gonna go tailgating.
Oh, that's on my list too. Very good.
Obviously us, we don't live in the States. We don't go to as many games, but for all the people that do, and even us when we get down there, man, it's unmatched.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's tough because it was there, and I have a very similar pick. I hope let this one slide, and that's just going to the game live. Going to my first NFL game this year.
Oh,
could not be more fired up. So yeah, anyways, what's better than seeing the game live, right? All right. Pick number 4, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, his scouts got fired.
You know what? The scouts weren't even hired. Fuck. Listen, we have what, 18, 19 weeks of football coming up? More, 25
Yeah.
probably. From here on out, I'm going with Sunday afternoons.
I was about to take that, buddy.
I mean, what else am I going to be doing Sunday afternoon?
I'm
The
gonna, I'm
next
gonna throw
25
one out.
weeks.
I'm gonna throw one out here for my fourth pick, and you guys might want to throw a challenge flag, but I'm gonna see what I can get away with. And to me, it's just the game has obviously grown, and the NFL has done a very good job about it, and that's holiday games.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But I thought you guys were gonna be like pick a holiday, but
Oh, I'm okay with that.
you know,
Yeah,
just
no.
the way they've expanded to Christmas now too. Christmas was growing up was always a basketball day, and now it's just
Yeah.
football is kind of taking it over.
Yeah. I like that.
If I take Sunday beers here, is that the same as taking Sunday afternoons?
No, I mean, there's not always beers on the Sunday afternoon.
Like, I don't want to be stepping on your toes here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, you just took that.
Listen, bro, I won't say nothing. I wouldn't say that I would be drinking beers every Sunday. So
Yeah, there's
Okay,
not
so
beers every Sunday.
So
there's football
listen,
on
so
Sunday.
here,
though,
I'll
so-
change my pick. I won't make it Sunday beers. I'm gonna call it just NFL viewing parties. All right.
All right.
Everyone getting together, and at those viewing parties, you'll include some beers. So that's how I'm gonna get around that. Because you never know. Could be Thursday night, could be Sunday night. You have some of the boys over, have some beers. That's really fun. And you know what? I'm gonna go with the first player off the board here. I'm gonna go with Tom Brady, the consensus GOAT. You don't think about the NFL without thinking about Tom Brady. So I'm going to take the best player available. And that's going to round out my team.
I'm going back and forth between two players here, and I think we've settled on the player we want here. And let me just set the mood here, man. It's a great Sunday. You know, the Sunday scaries are fully in effect during that 1 hour break that you got after the 4 p.m. time slot. But then just get slapped in the face with another game. Sunday night football is where we're going. You got 3 more hours to worry about the assignments that are due at 12 o'clock that you haven't done yet, and going to school the next day. And then Sunday football, those 3 hours are just glorious before you have to go back to real life.
Yeah, and you know what? There's the only thing that feels better is waking up the next day and having more football.
Yeah, that's what I was
I've got-
debating between Sunday and Monday.
I've got every day of the football schedule on here. I'm going with Monday night football. Listen, Mondays suck. We all know it. But there's nothing better than getting back home after school, after work. You know, you're making yourself dinner and you're like, oh, it's Monday. We have one more NFL game. Let's go. There's nothing like it. So Monday night football, I'm happy I got it. All 3 days of the week of the
You're
schedule,
covered, man. You're
I'm
watching
happy.
every day on your team. Your team's watching every day. I like that.
You don't take no
All right,
days
well,
off.
that rounds out our all things NFL draft. I would just like to give an honorable mention here to one team, one player here. And that was gonna be always watching the Cowboys blow it in the playoffs. That's just one of my favorite things about the NFL. Because the Cowboys are the most popular team, but they have the most annoying fans. They're always up in your face about this is our year, but be honest, guys, it's never your year. Let's be honest. So watching them blow it was someone that I passed on. But all right, so just to round out the teams, I got NFL Red Zone in the first round, betting on the NFL in the second, the NFL Draft in the third, NFL viewing parties in the fourth, and Tom Brady in the fifth. Shaner got fantasy football in 1, the Super Bowl in 2, tailgating in 3, holiday games in 4, Sunday night football at 5, and LB got week 1 of the NFL in 1, Thursday night football in 2, watching games live in 3, Sunday afternoons in 4, and Monday night football in the 5th round I'm liking what all these teams are looking at because all these players on these teams are making me excited, man. Me and Liam are going to Foxborough in a couple weeks, and oh my goodness, are we going to be buckled at that tailgate? I'll tell you what, I am very excited about that. So, just to end off this episode, we're going to head into our lock of the week in terms of betting. And this week, I've got a 3-team spread parlay for you guys to lock in here. First up, we got the Vikings. I'm taking their 6 points against the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to look like ass in week 1. I think they're going to be brutal this year. And the Vikings, it's going to be the Justin Jefferson show, and I'm excited. Next up, I got the Saints taking 3 points against the Titans, man. I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough to not be able to take that spread. And then I have the Jags. I'm taking their 5 points against the Colts. I think the Colts might end up being one of the a bottom 3 team in the NFL this year. Sorry to say it, Dawson. I was expecting you to cry during this episode. Unfortunately, you're not here, but you'll hear this a little later.
All right. Well, I don't have a parlay for you guys, but I do have a player prop, the guy I talked about earlier. And it's one of the games matches talked, and it's in one of the games matches talked about the Bucks playing the Vikings. Rachaad White, his rushing totals are set at 44.5. If the Bucks want to compete in this game, they're gonna have to get the ground game going, and I don't know any other running back on that roster, so they're gonna have to do it with Rachaad White. 44.5 take is over. I like it. I think he'll get it comfortably, to be honest. And I don't think the Bucks are as bad as everyone think they are. They still have a very good defense, and they have weapons on offense. So if Baker can figure it out, it should be a decent football team.
Yeah, I'm going with a receiver here, and a line that I think is just way too low based on the team he's playing. And it's Calvin Ridley over 59.5 receiving yards. I think he's coming in. He's the receiver 1 now. He hasn't played in a year. I get it. That's why it's low. But he's playing the Colts, and they are terrible. And Trevor Lawrence is going to try and feed him early and often. And I think 59.5 is just way too low.
I like that.
Alrighty, boys. Well, that does it for our week 1 special of the Nothing But Controversy podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go subscribe on YouTube, and definitely go follow us on Instagram because most of our content gets posted there. You get to vote on all of our polls. You get to ask us questions, DM us anytime. Dawson, I miss you. We hope to get you back next week. And if you're watching this or listening to this, and you do everything that I just said, go follow us everywhere. Shaner's going to give you a nice little, the first kiss of season 3. Here we go. Goodbye.